Hello, patrons. Welcome to our bonus episode, our bonus after show. Never fear, Benny is still here, or maybe you should fear.
I'm getting my second wind.
There you go.
Another hour coming up. Maybe not.
Sometimes it goes long. I mean, there have been times where we're like, oh yeah, we're doing Patreon right now, not like a real one.
Yeah, well,
So
whatever.
go where the wind takes you.
That's right. And
Which there's no wind in here, so that means you're going to sit here.
Reminder, the air is very still. There was one time they were putting a roof on when we were recording.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that time?
Yeah, we're really
Everything-
good with.
And then there was like one time weird sounds were just coming through, but that's a different story. Danny doesn't like to think about that this room might be haunted,
No.
but sometimes there's a piano over there. Sounds come through the piano. It's fine.
No, you got to have a certain school of thinking about what is and isn't haunted, though, right?
Oh yeah, but that
Like, certainly for a place to be haunted, someone would have had to have died in that place.
Right. Which I don't think anybody's died
You
here.
don't know that.
I don't know. I should look.
You
This-
know, like
this-
Poltergeist had it was like on a burial ground.
That's a good point.
You don't know.
Maybe in this unit,
You moved
exactly
the
not.
headstones, but you left the bodies.
See?
Oh, I didn't think about that.
The real estate agent in Poltergeist who sells them the land is James Karen, who plays Frank in 1985's Return of the Living Dead, which is one of my five
Get out.
favorite. He was also the Maytag Man for a little while.
Wow.
That is a super fun piece of Xennial trivia.
Yeah. That's really cool.
And
That's
more
really
more
fun.
reasons to just not play trivia against me ever.
I
Yeah,
I know. If y'all haven't listened to our full episode yet with Ben, please go do that. You know what? I didn't even ask you. I've been calling you Ben the whole time. should ask if you want me to call you Benny instead.
No, it's too late to edit it.
I know.
I'm
That's
fine
true.
with whatever.
Apologies.
Just don't call me late for dinner.
Right.
Apologies. Oh my gosh. Jeez. All right. So what are we chatting about? What
Okay,
else we got
so
on
when we stopped recording the other episode, I explained to Benny, I'm going to call him Benny.
I know
that,
since I fucked it up for the past hour and a half. It's fine. Fine.
I just said on the after show, we just kind of like talk about either something adjacent to the topic or something totally different. And it turns out Benny has something adjacent, which is that he used to work at a funeral home.
That's right.
What did you do at the said funeral home?
I was a funeral assistant, which means you assist with funerals.
Wow.
It means that you work in the business of, could be daily tasks if you're in office. You would perform services like going and picking up death certificates,
Okay.
maybe going on flower deliveries, maybe setting up for funeral services, whether they're in the funeral home chapel or they're at an adjacent church where everything's been scheduled, possibly going to the burial site or going to the cemetery, and if that's where the proceedings are there. And then the part that I'm obviously leaving out, you would perform removal services.
What's that
Oh,
mean?
so you would go get dead people.
Go get them.
Okay. Was this like a depressing job?
It can be. I will save a lot of the details of what about it can be. When I first started doing the job, for the first 5 or 6 months, and look, the reason I did it is the reason a lot of people do odd jobs like that. I needed money.
Yeah,
Mhm.
of
Sure.
course.
And it was a good job, and I knew the owner, and he's a very nice guy. He's a gentleman named Courtney. Love him, and I got along with all the funeral directors, Dave and Eric and Darcy, who unfortunately has passed recently. But these were the guys I would work with every day, and Jay over at the cemetery. They were great guys and great people, just in general. But they tried to keep it a little bit lighter, just around what you had to do and treat it like a business, but not morbidly so. But when you're first working there, you definitely have to check yourself. I mean, there were a couple of services we had performed, and I won't go into the details of those because they are depressing and sad, that weigh on you when you get done with them.
Yeah.
But then there were other items that didn't do that, right?
Mhm.
And there were other things that were kind of funny about the job, because you tend to learn that the dead aren't the problem.
No, of course.
It's the living. So when you would perform removal services, it could be during the day. If you got the call, that was drop what you're doing.
Mhm.
You're doing laundry, you're folding sheets right now, like it can wait. You're washing the hearse right now. Stop washing the hearse. Got to go get the van, go get them. So you'd go to either hospitals, hospice care centers, or households. Those would be the 3 places you could go to.
Oh man.
Now,
I don't think I realized that dead bodies, if you died in like a house, they didn't go somewhere before they went to the funeral home. Like they go straight from the house.
well, it depends, because the 4th place that I didn't mention doesn't begin with an H, and that's the medical examiner's office. So
Oh,
if you went to the
okay.
ME, you were picking someone up who, maybe it was a roadside collision or mysterious circumstances.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm.
So when you go to a house, you get the phone call. You get the call, says, I'd like to report we need somebody to come perform removal services. And if it was a
But who
hospital,
calls?
depends. If it's a hospital, it'll be a nurse or doctor or practicing member there. And 99% of the time when you're going to a hospital, they've already been moved to the morgue
Okay.
of the hospital. You're not interacting with anyone. You're going to the back door. You're in and out.
Yeah,
It's fine.
weird side story with a morgue. Like as you're saying this, I'm remembering my mom growing up. She was an ER nurse. She was like head nurse of the ER. So her office, I hated having to go stay in her office because it was smaller than this room. It was like an old closet that they just made an office.
Mhm.
But right next to her office was the morgue because there's an outer door.
Mm.
And so I could hear them coming to pick up. When that outdoor door was open, I knew that there was a body coming out. When I heard the wheels turning, instead of going straight down the hall, I knew that they were bringing a body. So I would always know when to just sit there and not come out. Terrified me. My mom would always tell me the same thing. She's like, they're dead.
Yeah.
What are you scared of? Like, I
It-
don't like, not to be insensitive, but you know,
Right. No,
I mean,
yeah.
anyway, so as you're talking about morgue, I'm visualizing that hospital and you like beep 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 coming
Here comes
through
Benny.
that door.
Through
Yeah.
that door.
So when you got the call, if it was a nurse or a doctor, you'd be like, it's fine. Probably going to,
Like official place.
very rarely, not to say that it doesn't happen, you're going to get somebody off of an operating table, right? Like
Oh.
very rarely. You're going to be going to the morgue almost every single time.
Okay.
Like the only time you would get somebody in that situation, truthfully, is if they didn't have space in the morgue for whatever reason. Because we're not
Okay.
the only game in town, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
People's just
True.
dying to get in there. So,
I needed.
They're not all winners, Danny. They're not all winners.
I need
We
my
were like,
drum set. Where's my drum set?
It came in later.
When you'd go to a hospice care facility, you would be called by, again, a practicing nurse or someone on staff. Families might be there. You may have to greet them. It's when your feeling about the job morphed, when you realized you were working for, a better purpose for people. You were providing them support in a time where they weren't necessarily good with the support or good mentally. Things have just happened. Generally, when you went to a hospice care facility, though, you were dealing with very reasonable, very good, very nice people. Because, and I maintain this, if you've ever had a loved one, myself included, in hospice previously, the worst feeling is admitting them into hospice in the first place.
Mhm.
It's
Right.
knowing that you lost the battle,
Right.
or that you are losing, that you're at the point of, we cannot change what's going to happen, but we can try to make them comfortable.
Right.
That's much worse. Going to a house or a residence is a mixed bag. You might have gotten a call and it might have been an in-home hospice. So same situation. You're not worried about it. But then you'd get the call, and there would be plenty of times you'd get the call and it would be, yeah, this is Officer James from the police department. We've got one. I'm like, are they in bed? Are they on the floor? Are they at the bottom of a staircase? Are they in the shower? Are they in a position where they're easy to lift? How much do you think they weigh? Because you never knew. Now, the rule of houses was, whereas with hospitals and hospice care facilities, only one person would go and you'd do the job by yourself. You needed to send 2 people. It's a security thing and also just a measurable thing. So, again, that would be during the day shift. If you worked the night shift, the rules were very simple. 5 p.m. to 8 a.m., you're on call. Stay in town and stay sober. That's all we ask you to do. At any point between 5 p.m. and 8 a.m., you could get called.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't get called, you're going to make a minimum amount of money every night just for being on call.
Okay.
You're automatically paid this amount every night for being on call. If you do get called and the call takes you 30, 45 minutes to complete, well, that's fine. We're going to pay you 2 hours, right? If it takes more than that, we're going to pay you up to that, blah, 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 blah. So, I mean, there were plenty of nights where you could get no calls and nothing would happen. You'd rest easy. And then there were nights where you'd get a call at 6, you'd get a call at 10, you'd get a call at 4. And like, that's disruptive sleep pretty bad, but you probably did like 3 hours of work got paid maybe 8 or 9 hours of work. So you're not in bad. You look at those as positives. You always get the call at 2 a.m. You got to put on, and if you don't know, I'm not just going out there in a tank top and shorts.
Hey, I'm here to pick up the body.
Cigarette hanging out your mouth.
So I'm getting up, you brush my teeth, comb my hair. I don't have time to shower. I got to go. Put on the 3-piece suit, spray down my funk and my body so that I don't smell horrible. Not that carting around a dead body is going to help.
It's weird the things we worry about.
Yeah,
I know.
So you get in the van and you're like, oh, they're out in the middle of field and or they're in some farm 25 minutes away. They're not conveniently 5 minutes from where the van is.
Of course.
And you're the whole time in your brain, you're like, oh, I'm so tired. I hate this. This sucks. Blah 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 blah. And you get to the house and you put on the professional face and they open the door and they'll say something to you like, we're just so thankful that you're here.
Aww.
And all of your self-absorbed narcissism washes away when you realize someone is having a worse day than you are.
Yeah.
And you are here to help them. And there were plenty of times I ended up in places with people who I knew. And it wasn't awkward because it was a professional environment. I want to tell you really quickly about a very specific trip that I had made. I could tell you 2 of them, but one of them involves a new guy who refused to grab a pantsless man around the ankles because it was, so it gets 2 of us. It's a big guy. He had a heart attack in his home.
Oh.
He clearly had a heart attack trying to put on his pants.
Oh.
He was going commando under the pants. So he's on the bed, back down, his face up, and he's got like one leg up, his pants around his ankle, and he's just hanging out.
I mean, what else? I mean,
it's the human anatomy in its most natural form.
Correct.
Dead and flaccid.
I was going to say. Dead
and Flaccid. It's the name of my 3rd studio album.
That's our next hashtag.
Live and Dangerous. You've heard of Live and Dangerous. It's Dead and Flaccid. Over
yes, I love it.
So we go to pick him up, and it's going to take 2 of us to pick him up. And this guy was kind of I had a lot of problems with his etiquette already with the way that he would present himself because he would do a lot of talking in front of the police officers at different places and be like, you're not showing any level of decorum. Like, the family's right over there. Stop shooting the shit with the cops.
Yeah.
Our job is to literally get in, and get out, and give them the card so they can call in the morning. Yeah. Also, like, we're getting paid for 2 hours if we're out for 20 minutes. Let's get in and get out.
Right.
And so if I'm home and the next call comes in, that starts the 2-hour clock over again.
Yeah.
It's not a continual, use your head.
Right.
He had done not a lot of removals. He was clearly self-conscious about picking up a body, as some people may be, but at the end of the day, it's not going to bite you. It's not a zombie. It's not going to suddenly repel vomit on you. That's not how this works. It is true people expel themselves, but that has already usually happened.
Right.
So you may deal with that, but whatever. You wrap people in a sheet, you're fine.
I don't think I could be fine. I would panic. I would not.
Being by dead people.
I think you'd be okay.
Yeah.
You'd be all right.
It's an adjustment. I asked him what he would rather do, pick up the legs or pick up the torso. Torso's got a lot more weight on it. But the legs, he's got a penis pointing at him. And he could not get past it.
Well, he has a penis, right?
Yes, but it's not the dead penis he's looking at. So he goes to pick up the legs, and he basically almost instantly drops. And I'm like, I said to him flat out, I said, if you don't man up and do this, man up. I was like, if you don't do this, I will switch the legs and you can take the torso. But I want to be really clear. If he hits the floor,
oh my God,
you're going to call the funeral director and you're going to do this by yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Never went on a removal service with him again.
So what did
because
he do?
He manned up. He did it. But, it was like, it's not like this isn't a hook that you're gripping.
You're not
you grab him by the legs.
You're
What
not
are you
carrying by the penis.
But he was a bigger guy, so the sheet kept going undone, so it like kept winking at him.
Oh my God,
And
that's
he just couldn't
hilarious.
handle it. That was
I mean, I just wouldn't want to see that.
Yeah.
we got called out to
Like, well, no, I mean, I wouldn't either. That's what I meant. That's
Katie's
what I
like,
meant.
maybe.
we got called out to a house in a farm area once, and it was maybe 6 p.m. Sun was barely going down. It was like an hour after the on call had started, and it's myself and this guy Jay, wonderful guy, heart of gold, face of stone. Nothing could break Jay. Nothing could break Jay. He was a great guy, and we get called out to this farmhouse where he was a hospice care removal old man. Fine. Should be easy. Drive out there 25, 30 minutes. We get there. We walk in, and it's a big main room. There's a half wall right here next to the door we walked in. There's a half wall, and they've got just all this food, all these people. It's like potluck style. They got music on in the background. It's a big wall back. So I'm thinking, he's probably out back and everybody's over. We're not going to mourn his death. We're going to celebrate his life. And I'm like, great. I love your attitude, love your spirit, love all that. So, we get in, we talk to the guys. They're like, yeah, everybody's just over. We're sharing memories, having a good time, having food. I'm like, cool. The food spread's going all the way back and around. It's just this big hall with the half wall to our left. And we say, okay, can you take us to him so we can remove him? U-turn around the half wall. He's in the room with all the food.
What?
He's in the room with all the celebrating. His and you die, you lose your jaw muscle. So he's in the room.
Oh my word.
Uncovered.
No.
Laying there.
What?
And they're just having a party around him.
Like having a cocktail with grandpa just died right there.
An old hootenanny.
Oh my.
So when we're there to remove him, it's time to remove him. His wife is there. And we say to her, you want to take a moment. The hospice nurse is still there as well, and she takes a moment. It's very nice. People kind of watch and congregate, and then she steps back, and it's fine. And we go to wrap him. Everything's fine. We've got like 30 people watching us. We wrap him. We get him on the gurney, and he had been. It's not always requested, but there are times where they'll ask us to do the flag for service. And at that time, I believe we had one to do. So we go to put the flag over top as we're going to wheel him out. And his wife just like all of a sudden catastrophically faints.
Oh.
And as she does, 4 or 5 people go gather around her. We've got him strapped down at this point. And the hospice nurse, I look at Jay like, what do we do? Jay looks at me, stone face is like, just throws his hands up. I'm like, I don't know. And the hospice nurse is like, go. We get out, we get him loaded in, we start driving back, and Jay, 5 minutes in, total silence, looks back at me and says, probably could have hung around for a few more minutes, would have gotten a twofer. It was the first time I'd ever heard him crack a joke in my life. And it broke the tension because the whole situation was so bizarre.
I mean, I'm just picturing, like, what would you do in a situation like that? Like, party around a dead body, then the wife passes out, everybody's watching you, trying to do your job. I don't know.
Yeah, and your job is to remove the person who's already deceased.
Yeah. I mean, and you're being delicate to a point, obviously. Like, I need to be forceful with someone who's, I'd recovered little old ladies who were probably 70 pounds at the time of their passing. They were very old. They lived a full life. So, you get back to put them into refrigeration and you're just clutching the sheets and bent, gorilla press top shelf. You're not hurting them. You're not doing anything like that, but it's part of the nature of the business. Like it's what you're doing, but you're very careful. You make sure to take care of people's loved ones.
Yeah.
You hear about it all the time. Like, oh, well, we're going to take them into our care. That literally means our care.
Yeah.
We're not going to sit here and it's what I said to the guy when he almost dropped him. Like, you're not allowed. This is not an option. Yeah, so what happens if we drop him? That's not an option. Yeah. Dropping, it's not an option for 2 reasons. 1, having to explain it.
Mm-hmm.
2, physically getting someone off of the floor, the literal terminology of dead weight. I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
No. No.
Oh my gosh.
Have you
Get a
seen and maybe it's not that funny now that I'm listening to you now, but the recent SNL skit where they have the dead body on the water slide?
I don't think I have.
Play it for you, but essentially it's they're standing at the top of the slide and an old man walked all the skit is that this man walked up all these steps and then had a heart attack
Oh,
at the top. So
jeez.
he's at the top of the water slide.
Wow.
So there's the two lifeguards and the EMTs and they're like, wow, sure a lot of stairs. And the one lifeguard's like, you are not pushing him down the slide. This is a human being. And they're like, oh, we know. But now that you mention it, and it's like a whole thing, it just made me think of that. But she's saying like the things you're saying. She's like, this is a human being with a family. Like, you're not pushing him down a water slide.
But also, if I died at the top of a water slide, I'd be fine. They just
I
push
think
my
what
body
about
down.
the EMTs say that? They're like, well, I think he really wanted to go down the
I
water
mean,
slide.
obviously he wanted to go on it.
It's a real thing. Like,
Right.
look, if it's going to make the job easier, I can see how this would
Yeah.
be. I had a recovery once on a we had 2 cots in the back of the van. We had to remove one of them. We put in the specialized cot that we had that was intended to bear more weight.
Mhm.
He was probably 400 pounds.
Wow.
And there was just 2 of you?
2 of us and the nurse. Getting him onto the cot was a struggle, but we got him.
Wow.
And like that, at that point, it doesn't steer, the stretcher doesn't steer, doesn't do anything. Now, the way those are designed, when you shove them into the back of a van, you do need to shove with just a little bit of force. But you have a lever you release as you shove that releases the wheels.
Okay.
So if you do it with the right timing, you push right over the lip of the van, the wheels collapse, and it's now flat in the back of the van.
Mm.
It's not easy to do when you got a 400-pound guy.
Oh,
So like I had to go right up to it, line it right up, and then as soon as I release this handle, shove with all your might. And if he's crooked, I don't care so long as he's in the back. Like,
Mhm.
and that's what it was, because it's like you have to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But you
Wow.
also have to do it without being like, if I release this handle too early, then this whole thing comes crashing to the ground.
down.
And he's still on the gurney, but now the gurney's on the ground.
Oh,
Yeah, so you
jeez.
gotta,
And that's not
Yikes.
going to happen. I'm going to
Oh
call the
my
fire
gosh.
department at that point.
I feel like with a job like that too, every call's different.
Yeah.
Like you just described these wildly different stories. You literally don't know what you're walking into. Maybe if you're going to the morgue or whatever.
Most of the time,
but
yeah. I mean,
you don't know what to expect when
the
you get
stories
there.
I'll save you from are the ones when you go to the ME.
Mm.
Because interestingly enough, those are the stories where you are 100% fully told and aware ahead of time
Oh.
what you're walking into.
Dang.
And I will just leave it at, and that doesn't make it easier.
No.
I will say this: the ladies who work in the ME, they're fantastic. One of them goes to my gym. We talk all the time. They're really great people who
Good.
do some of
Oh,
the
yeah.
easily the worst work you can possibly do.
I can't imagine.
And they do amazing work, and
And
they're very
it's-
wonderful people.
I would say, and it's important work.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I could ever, I don't know. Some of our family friends, the house I grew up in down the street, they owned one of the local funeral homes that they still own to this day. It's still in their family. And that was everybody loved them so much because they made sure all their employees cared for people in the way you're talking about. But my sister they had a daughter who was my older sister's age, and they would go to work sometimes and play in the display room. They would play hide and seek in the caskets, and they would get in
jeez.
trouble all the time.
Yeah.
They'd be like, Terry and Tara, are y'all playing hide and seek in the casket room again?
Not again. Oh my God.
I don't run from my history with it. They still do, usually once a year around Christmas, they'll do a candlelight vigil at the because it's co-branded funeral home and cemetery that they work at, and they'll do a vigil at the cemetery. And if I'm not obligated to anything, I will go every year
Oh, that's
for
nice.
it and attend and support them. Well, that, and they also have hot cocoa there.
I mean,
They have a
free hot-
recipe for hot cocoa that's really something.
free hot cocoa.
They're not just
I
funeral directors and
No.
people. Well,
They make hot cocoa.
at the time when I was working there and assisting, because you also help in the prep room with a lot of prep.
Yeah.
Got to make people look good. Abraham Lincoln is the whole reason we love embalming so very much in this country, because they took his body on tour instead of just giving him a nice, dignified burial.
Isn't that weird?
They put him on tour.
Why are
They
you
embalmed him and put him on
fascinated with
tour. And the main takeaway from it was people were like, "He looks good." For being shot in the head and bleeding out over several hours.
Let me ask y'all a personal question then. Do you want to have an open This is so fucking morbid. We never get this morbid on this show.
When we record after dark, this is the first time we've recorded after dark.
Weird.
It's the witching hour already.
It's the witching hour. The hot witching hour.
My sister and I were talking about this because I was like, I just want to be cremated. Like, I don't want you to waste the time nor money. But my sister's like, hell no, make me look good, put me on display, and cry over my casket. Like, we're so different. So I'm curious.
Gosh, that's tricky.
Really?
I feel like your sister in a way, because I think
you do want to be like.
I think it depends when it happens, but I think my kids would want that. I think they'd want to see me again that way.
See, but I don't know, like.
But the practical side of me is like, just cremate me. Who cares?
People to. I don't know.
Cardboard box is $75 for a 6-foot human-sized cardboard box, roughly.
So what is
probably gone up in the last.
What is your personal opinion? Do you want to be like
cremated?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just throw me in the oven.
That's what I say too. Donate my parts, what can be used, and then just burn me up. Put me back in there.
And then find like the best pictures of me ever.
Oh,
I don't care how old they are.
And then
do a little
slideshow. I told Troy, I said, if I go before you and you have a celebration of life for me, make everybody wear a costume.
Oh, that's so great.
and only play fun music.
Yeah.
Like, do not have some lame ass sad thing. I don't want that.
That's what we did for my dad's thing was always celebrating me. We went to his favorite restaurant.
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
I was given the option when I flew in. His wife at the time, not my mother, but my at the time stepmother. Now her name is also Connie, just happens to be. And she'll be down here in a couple of weeks for A Christmas Story.
Yay!
Hey.
Welcome, Connie.
But when he passed, she gave me the option when I flew up to see him, and I thought about it, and it really hurt me because just thinking about it.
Did you see him?
And I said no, I don't.
I didn't either when I was a kid.
Because I won't get into the sob story, but like I had known what he had gone through in the last couple. It was very sudden to everyone, but when you look at how he lived his last 6 or 9 months on Earth, I don't think it was that sudden to him.
Yeah,
I just think he held on to it knowing that his time was up. I really do believe that. But yeah, we cremated him, and Courtney, again at the time, was very helpful in that he helped me find the exact urn that I wanted to put him in, which I have in my house. And the reason you never notice it is because it is the same urn that the character Paul Bearer uses for the pro wrestler The Undertaker. So he helped me find that exact model of urn.
I love that.
I will also tell you, I'll give you this as my last thing, I swear.
Okay. We're ready.
So we took some of my father's ashes to spread to a few places that he requested them be spread.
Okay.
One of the places he requested them be spread was in Disneyland in California.
Oh.
Now, in case you're not aware, you're not allowed to enter the park with human remains.
Oh, well, I mean, that adds up.
For obvious reasons.
Well, right.
And certainly there would be an easy way to verify that. My actual mother, Margot, who will also be down in a couple of weeks, they're friends, by the way. They get along. Margot and Connie do. She put him in rolling papers.
Oh, my God. That's great.
And we managed to get him in a couple of places.
Oh, that's awesome.
But that was a much more successful route than he had married Connie in front of the Bellagio fountains.
Aw.
So we went to we were in Vegas as well, and we went to spread him in front of the Bellagio at the fountains just a little bit. And it was emotional. I was there. My best friends were there. Melinda was there. My mom and Connie were all there. It was also windy.
Oh, no.
And there's this, no one's near us, right? Like no one's near us. But about 15 feet away, 10, 15 feet away, there's this family of like 3 or 4 tourists, standing there, can't understand us. They're from, I'm guessing Asian.
Okay.
Not going to guess past that. They're from somewhere else. They don't see what we're doing or anything like that. But I mean, we're all very quiet and having a moment. And as I'm spreading, the wind just takes one handful and throws it right into their faces.
No way. Oh my God. That's like a set
and it
episode.
goes from this emotional, clairvoyant moment to don't laugh.
Oh.
Don't laugh. Don't laugh. Mark, my father's name is Mark. It's like Mark just threw himself in their faces. He got one more for the road, like you can believe in it all you want, but that's what happened because from then on it was, we're trying to go into the shops or somewhere to go get a drink and relax, but we're pissing ourselves laughing.
Oh, I would die.
Because we're like, oh my God, those people, we just threw my dad in their face.
Oh my God.
Just the updraft, just caught it.
Just caught it. Oh my gosh.
Oh, maybe that's what I want, to be cremated and then just carry me around in your pocket and throw me at people.
There you go. But only people you don't like. And dogs.
That's dead Danny Combs. How you
That's
feel
what
now?
you get.
I hope that resonates with you. I hope that sticks with you forever.
I thought where I would want my ashes to go. I'm going to think about that.
I don't really care.
You don't have anywhere special you would want them to be?
It doesn't matter. I mean, when I'm dead, I'm dead.
I feel like though, but like listening to you, it's something for your family.
If they would like to do something with them, that's fine. They can decide that. I have no preference because it doesn't matter. Like we said, funerals and all that, that's not for the dead person. That's for the people who are living.
Well, I've been told I've also been told that there was many years ago a purchase of a family plot done by my wife's side of the family, so that I potentially am part of that lot regardless. So my response to it is always well, I'll be dead. I guess doing what I want or doing whatever you want doesn't really matter.
Right.
That's true. That's true.
I don't suddenly get an afterlife voice to overrule it.
As I go home and start typing up all these things, I'm like, yes, I'm ready. I'm ready.
I don't know. Like I lost my dad at a young age and I didn't want to see him. I didn't like the idea of funerals. I was 11. I was young, but even at that young age, I was like, but see, that's not my dad now. Like he's away. And so I didn't need, I don't know. And everybody's different different. Because my sister did. She did need that process. So I think everybody's different. But also, I don't care. When I'm dead, I'm dead. Yeah. So, just shove me somewhere.
You heard it here first, folks.
If you want to keep me, put me
about
on a
90 on the freeway and just right out the side.
It's fine. I'm not going to care. I'm dead.
So you wouldn't be mad if I was blaring country music with all my dogs in the car.
Bitch, I'm dead. It's okay. All right. If that makes you celebrate my life for some weird
I suppose the
reason.
question is okay, now let's say your spirit is seeing this and has decided suddenly that it's got unfinished business.
Then I shall haunt you forever.
That's what I would
Then I will fuck up your keyboard forever.
Yeah. It'll be like, Katie, you are hearing things. It's Danny.
Oh
man.
Well, don't worry. My sister said, because there's some people who you can pay to mourn at your funeral, at funerals, they're paid seriously that will go and wail and mourn. And my sister was like, you better do that if I die before you. And I was
why would you do that though?
When I go to funerals, I take bets on who's going to ugly cry first. I prefer that.
My sister's like, I want you to throw yourself on my coffin and make just be so ridiculous. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah, make it as much about you as possible.
Yeah.
That's what today is.
That's what today is,
the thoughts and prayers crowd at its best. I know you're having it hard, but don't forget about how hard I got things.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, if you really want me to stop.
You're like, I can do it. I take direction well. Well, that was a fun little...
That's weird. That was funny. All right.
Well, thanks for sticking around, Benny.
$8 a month buys you stories like these. Don't forget.
Seriously.
It does.
And we have one after every episode.
I know.
It's bonus content I don't always open up about.
It's true.
Honestly, though, thank you for sharing that because that is a whole cool side of things that
most people probably wonder about for sure. I have more questions, but I'll save them. All right. Well, thank you, patrons. Thanks for keeping the lights on and maybe the air conditioning, fingers crossed, by next time. And we will see you on our next after show. Bye, guys.
Bye.